everybody, welcome back to James Plays Obduction with an O. Last time we tried to do some more exploration of Hunrath, trying to find answers to the many questions that I had. Tried to tie up a few loose ends and further explore, follow up, and all that, and I just was still finding myself with more questions than answers, so I thought, hey, let's just use those teleporters and go to a different place. One of them led to a dead end, the other one led to here. And there's a whole lot of stuff to play around with here. Mostly focused around this contraption. Now, before we touch any of that, we do have a lift over here. I want to see if it works. It's going to take us lower. And I want to see... No, it's not going to take us anywhere. So there we answered that question. But I don't know why it wouldn't take us anywhere. Unless it's a power issue. So now we're starting to develop some sort of purpose for ourselves. That looks like it could be the power issue. Also, these things being here, they're almost like barnacles. It's not like they built this machine with that stuff on there, you know? Now we've got this, which connects to this. Looks like a walkway. So we need to lower that, and that will let us get up here. But what the heck is any of this? We've got Russian again. Diapason? 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 I don't... Okay. I gonna check that I took a picture of this last time. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna close that out, and we're gonna take some more pictures of the different states that we can find ourselves in with this. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. There's so many things that do things. Okay, forget about taking pictures. There's way too much going on here. Is it... I think I may understand. No, I don't. Never mind. I thought, like, you needed to do certain inputs Like, this, it's like lights out. Like, this turns these on, and then you turn something else that turns lights on, and the ones that are already on get turned off. I feel like what I'm gonna want to do is spend a lot of quality time with this thing. And I feel like I should not do that here in the video. I feel like something as complicated as this has got to have something in the game that will provide some guidance in what to do with it. And now I'm very worried that we've got lights on and we can't do anything about that, so alright. How about the back? Anything on the back? Oh. We have seen this written before. In right here. Which I think translated to something like an exercise in pointless activity. And I'm wondering if that's the game's way of telling me that I'm just wasting my time. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and come over here. And we have just this wheel on this side. Okay. Then we have this lever, which raises and lowers a gear. So this is disengaged. And with it disengaged, I can't even use the wheel. Okay, we've got that going. And this is no longer usable. So with that, Okay, we got that going. This... don't know what the story is with this. I'm looking at things... Oh, okay. Now we're... Okay. It stopped changing to show that I could interact with it, so I thought that I couldn't. So we pull to change where we're looking, and then we just click it to pull the lever, or I could just pull it like that. So that should all be good. Everything is properly connected. You know, for stuff that has fallen apart, a lot of things seem to be in working order. I really wish there was a reset button on something like this. Maybe there is. Hey! We did it. Now we just, I think, have to do the opposite of that. Now with everything on, this one operates the device out there. The lower one operates the elevator. This operates this, I believe, which we can't get to without having access to the walkway. And that leads to mystery. Please work. It work. The faith that we're putting into all this rusty metal still being safe and functional, especially with all the pieces that have fallen off. Okay. Okay. That not super helpful, but let's leave it like that. This continues to bother me. We're going to go the long way around to where we just took the lift. Because didn't think I saw a call button. And I'm wondering if there is a counterbalance thing. And this is now functioning. Okay, so with that lift down, this one still is where that is. That totally makes sense. Huh. Yeah, I don't see a way to call the lift back up. I mean, it's not super important, but I just thought I'd check that out. As you saw, we don't need the lift. But I feel like we... I don't know. There's a reason why we would be using that lift. To get down. The only other thing that I would like to do is I'm going to set the bridge in a different position and then use the lift to go back up. I don't know why. I just am. But we don't have a reason to. But I'm doing it anyway. Okay, we're back up here. So is the lift. I don't think it served any purpose at all, but it's just something that I wanted to try. So now the next thing for us to try is to see what the stuff does now that it's powered up over here. And we'll go up this way and just look again. Yeah, there are no controls or anything to interact with up here. There was nothing that we could do in here. Right? There's no button or levers or anything. We need to move this out of our way. And I'm just not seeing a means to do that. So we have that electrical box that I do not know how to operate. And we have this that I see no controls for. But where would the controls be? I'm gonna go just looking around. Maybe this is a situation where we find ourselves on the other side, and then we are able to move this thing from this side to create a shortcut. Like, we end up over here another way. But from that side, I don't know if I see any controls either. Well, the last thing for me to be doing, then, for now at least, unless there is something else, I don't know. Let's look at this again, just for a moment. This is the thing that we powered up that powers the lift. I'm almost positive. Here's the bridge where we started. Go and then you go down there. Here's the way up over there. Here's the lift down. So here a lift will take us over here. And here and here. And they come around. So we're here right now. You came down here and you explore this, and we can't get across this gap. But we can get over there, possibly from a different way. And then over here is... if the orange circles are like our teleport spots, we have this and this. Is this where we teleported to before from the first place? One last thing. I know I keep teasing you guys with the promises of using that teleporter, and we're going to use it. I just want to check one last place now that we've got power. See if anything is over here. That there's nothing to interact with here. Okay. Trying my best to be thorough. Now, with the way that this little area looks, I'm pretty sure this came out of Hunrath. And I'm wondering where it's going to take us when we use it. And, well, we'll find out by using it. A safe assumption would be someplace we haven't been yet. And maybe we'll get some answers to the many questions we still have. Please. Okay. Oh. Well, it's not at all what I was expecting. I kind of expected it. I had a suspicion that this would teleport me back here. I was not quite expecting that it would bring everything with it, although, yeah, that does make sense. But with it replaced, we can now get through here, which is something. So... We created a path that we can get through with the cart. But for what purpose? A more convenient way to turn it around? Because now we have no, this isn't a loop. Is it? Is this anything? Doesn't feel like... I'm not putting pieces together just yet. But I want to just kind of... just do something. This is not helpful. But I'm going to leave this here. It's just the way that this is. It's like there's a chute. And we can get the cart at the bottom. But there's nothing to do up here. I was wondering if there was a way to do anything in this game ever. I don't know. I'm just so confused right now. There's just so many things that are set up of like, oh, I need to figure out this. I need to find the answer to this. And I'm just not finding any of that, you know? And the fact that I'm not finding, like, any of it. I have, what, 3 or 4 locked doors? I've got number codes. I just... It's just not making sense to me. So yeah, we went through there for no real reason. Because it doesn't even line up with that. We would need to take it back out and just go this way instead to get that set up to there. There's nothing here to destroy, right? I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to just try something that I know is not going to work. And it's going to cause a lot of flashing in this very enclosed area. Don't mind me. So I shot the laser through here, just to be on the safe side. And as you can see, there's nothing different at all. Shooting it at here, I don't think is gonna be doing anything, but we're here. Yeah, I don't see anything there either. We're at the point in the game where my answer to everything is just shoot it with a laser. Because that's all I know. All I know is shoot laser and cry. Well... I'm just really not sure what to do. Going to just kind of go back over the notes that I'd written and think for a moment. Let's see what our old pal C-Dubs has to say to us. Maybe he has a little guidance of his own to give us. I'm trying. Well, he's given up on us, I guess. And I'm wondering if I should give up on myself, too. So, this is, what, episode 5? And this is going to be our first time looking at a hint? So, that's, I mean, I can take some comfort in that, maybe. That we've managed to do a lot before getting just totally confused and stuck. The last thing that I can think of to try doing would be to teleport back to that other world. Now that this thing is back intact here, if I were to go back, what's over there now? But I don't see how that would help me at all. Because what it would need to do is what this does. Bridge a gap. And I don't really think it did that. And I don't really want to go that whole roundabout way to get there and then it mean nothing, so that's the only idea I have, and it doesn't sound right. So we're gonna go take a look at the Obduction Exploration Guide. Okay, the Obduction Exploration Guide says that I should have found a note that gives me a hint towards one of the codes that I've been looking for. This is where we find notes. Please change Farley's lock. Where I didn't see this before. Please change Farley's lock code to secure the vault. Her address backwards should suffice. I didn't see that. Okay. Well, I don't know why I didn't see that this whole frigging time, but we didn't. And now we have an answer. Hey, so I went back to see how I managed to miss this note. And what happened was, I was looking at everything from the other side of the table, And the game let me pick up and read the first 2 notes without any problem this way, but when I went to click on that little scrap of paper, it wouldn't let me. So then I assumed that meant the little scrap of paper wasn't something for me to pick up and read like the other things were. I don't know if that's my fault or not. I'll leave it up to you to decide. Unless you decide it is my fault, in which case you're wrong. So let's go look at Farley's address. "1436" becomes 6341. And now the 4-digit code was the back door, which was in the cliff, which means we're going to have to do a little teleport. Yay! Okay. Let's open that. Get our little shortcut. Welcome. Hi. Here's another map. Yeah, that checks out. We haven't been here yet. There's a path there. And... All these little green smudges here indicate places that you can access the wall, the boundary. So it would be this one, because that's the one across. But how do I get there? The entry canyon, this is where we come in from. There's a solid rock wall there. And come around down. A boundary here. Can't even get up anymore to there. I think we would need to be here and come across like that, but does that work? And to get there is the cemetery. Let us see what we're working with for a moment before I do other stuff in that place. It's not that. It's this. So now we're up here. And we can't even get across. Can we? I think I did the wrong spot. So you're talking about getting back there somehow. And it's just not adding up to me. Yeah, we're back at the loop. I think it has something to do with the... If you remember... I can't even get over there for crying out loud. Come on. Come on. Stop being silly. So from down there, we could come across this way and go in here. It's lower than that. Not this spot here, but lower. Where there's a locked door. And I'm wondering if that is... what we're dealing with. Let's get back to the task at hand and explore more of the house. Maybe we'll get more answers for things. Farley Cemetery. Yeah, we were on the wrong side. I want to teleport from here up there, and that wouldn't help me. But yeah, there's a doorway here, so maybe if that unlocks, that gets us out that way. I don't know. Very faint. Okay. Welcome to Hunrath. Please give us a bit of information about you so we can get to know you a little better. Name, date you came from. Please use 4-digit year. Where you came from, country and city. Circumstance under which you were taken. Please note any dangers you noticed. Emptied and filled. 12,000... I don't know what AH stands for. Samuel Karen from February 2017. Madagascar. Just arrived and was driving my supply truck along the coast south of Mamakara. And I recall being washed away in this, or whisked away or something. There's that AH again. Uziel. I mean, I can't really read these things very well. They're very faint. But from 1942 Germany... Hiding... Okay. I think you're okay. Hiding in a cellar of a vacant building. Maria... On my boat in bad storm in Mexico in 1988. 2042, Jiaying Chuyu? I'm not very good at understanding the way to properly speak what I think is a Chinese name. And I'm not even confident that I'm reading it correctly. Okay, okay. Uh, look, you start pulling this down, and I was very worried it was something else. Okay, that's just to secure the pole in place. Oh, for crying out loud. I shall document the curious events that have transpired with myself, my family, friends, and co-workers. Hartnell was a peaceful mining town founded by my grandfather, who nestled within the red rock of the desert in the Arizona territory. Its 163 cohabitants heard a mighty explosion on the night of June 27th, 1903. I sent several workers through the town to verify that the explosion had not caused any injuries or damage to mining equipment. They returned and reported that it must have been a loud clap of thunder caused by dry lightning, but they found no damage. It was not until the light of the next morning that we were amazed to realize something profound had indeed occurred. At some point during that night, our entire mining facility and a large circle of the land around it seemed to have been scooped up and carried off to a completely different place, all without anyone knowing about it. The entire landscape outside of our circle of desert could only be described as alien. Large floating rocks could be seen in the distance. No one had ever seen anything like it anywhere on Earth. We fully explored our new surroundings, hoping to find a way home. No way home was ever found. In fact, we soon discovered what we take for granted now. Not only could we not get back home, we also could not access the landscape outside the desert. Curiously, we discovered that a flow of water was provided from a high point of rock, and we discovered a small tree growing in the very center of the circle. Our central tree that is so important to our lives here was just a mere sapling back then. Species description: Mofang. Through ambassador seeds, the Mofang were the first non-human species humans were introduced to. Anliang was the first to call the alien a Mofang, impressed with their advanced ability to imitate our sounds, movements, and mannerisms. Although they have a name for themselves, their language is mostly unpronounceable by humans. As a result, and because of their mimicry abilities, communication with the Mofang is primarily accomplished by their learning human languages rather than humans learning to speak Mofang. They've been able to learn almost every human language represented in Hunrath, enough to provide functional, if rudimentary, communication. The Mofang basic external morphology is remarkably humanoid. Bilateral, symmetrical tetrapods, bipedal, head with anterior facial features, mouth, eyes, nostrils. Other external features include minimal body hair and raised dorsal protrusions. Constitution is somewhat frail, due apparently to their thin and lightweight internal structure, but internal investigation has not been possible. They have ample cranial space to account for a substantial brain, and their intelligence is impressive as evidenced by their advanced technology. Oh, Okay. Okay. Arai. After a certain level of maturity and health of the tree, a passage opened at its base. This passage allowed contact with 2 additional species. The first contact was with the Arai. The first contact revealed the Arai to be large beetle-like insects. We were unable to communicate directly with them in any way, but they appeared to have some rudimentary level of intelligence. It was Loringtoth who first made the journey through the heart to Kaptar and named both the New World and the inhabitants. The Arai have 3 distinct variants that have come to be referred to as barnacle, beetle, and polyarch. Although their morphology is dramatically different from human, their internal systems, like all of our neighbors, are supported by similar atmosphere composition and basic nutrients. In their barnacle stage, the Arai are completely immobile. The Arai stay in this egg-like development state seemingly indefinitely. In order to hatch, they must be in proximity of a polyarch and fertilized by the beetles after a certain stage of maturity. The beetles are the eyes and ears, hands and feet. With only a minimum nervous system of their own, they are essentially the sensory extensions of the immobile polyarchs. They are able to execute simple commands, but apparently have very little in the way of individual sentience. Yep, we've seen them, and we've of course seen the barnacles, but the polyarchs, I don't think we have, are the intelligence and consciousness of the species. Although it was obvious that there was intelligence behind the species, it wasn't until Caroline Farley began spending large amounts of time in close proximity that deeper communication began. With a room nearby, Farley was the first to communicate non-verbally and learn much about the species, including some historical information. The Arai species survived in their world, while several other sentient species came and went, among them an ancient species who formed a deeper relationship with the Arai, carving temples and dwellings for them in the rocks, and later, a more recent species that took over much of their homeworld. This latter species was especially adept at mechanical construction, using it mostly to capture and process large flying creatures, using the beetles as bait. Ugh. I think that's a polyarch. So, this describes the world that we've been teleporting to. Villain. The final species to be discovered were the Villain. The Villain had been communicating with the Arai for many years through ambassador seeds, but became part of the larger community very shortly after the Arai. With a large and imposing frame and a form of communication based on a complex multi-voiced low-frequency rumble, the initial introductions were intimidating. After several attempts, Amélie Vidal was able to begin some rudimentary communication and began visiting the Villain in Marais, which she named, on a regular basis. She discovered a complex and amazing society that was able to use their technology in unexpected ways. They had the ability to quickly transform their world using extruded structures based on some form of complex miniature substrate material. Unlike the other worlds, the Villain sphere is scooped out of a Villain resettlement group that was preparing to set off into space to find a new homeworld. This was their way of life to put themselves into stasis and scatter themselves through the stars. As mentioned previously, their appearance is imposing, standing about 9 feet tall with a distinct reptilian resemblance. They have 6 limbs, 2 muscular legs and arms, and a smaller set of arms. They control every aspect of their technology with their vocalizations, but over the years, they have created control panels based on their number system that allow other species to easier access elements of their technology. So, are the Villain responsible for the transfer of the people to this planet? Also, this sounds very much like what we've seen in the gas station. Hello. There's a lot of reading here. That's fair. This is like a... I don't know what you'd call this place, but seems like the house was used as like a community or information center. And we're getting kind of like the details of what's going on around us, much like Myst with the books in the library. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna call this an episode. And then next time we will do more reading and a little more exploring. And this will also give me a chance to kind of process things that I've been doing the past couple episodes and figure out where we're going from there. Okay? Does that sound like a good plan? We're ending the episode with more things to do and figuring out, where we go from there. I'll see you guys next time. I love ya. Mwah. Bye-bye.